Senna's team McLaren very much the top constructor just now. But tonight, Sportsnight is in at the birth of a new motorsport outfit that has ambitions to make the Formula One grid in 1992.
Senna gets away beautifully on the left. Alain Prost on the right. Watch at the back of the grid. Mansell's coming through well on the left. And down Jefferson Avenue into turn one, the right-hander.
When the 1991 Formula One season roared into life in Phoenix, on pole position and thereabouts, the familiar faces were in their familiar places. But there were some new kids on the grid too, the teams of Modena and Jordan. Soon to be joined, he hopes, by the team of Adrian Reynard. A former Formula 2000 champion, he's now a successful racing car manufacturer. He's desperate to get into Formula One. But he knows that to win a Grand Prix, you must invest on a grand scale.
It's millions of pounds, which is a fairly big risk in anyone's book, and I'm very well aware of this. So it's not something you can go into lightly. I've been considering it for 5 years, quite seriously, and I've put the decision off many, many times. But I think now it is the right time. I can afford to do a fair part of the project, finance it ourselves, because after all, we do make 230 racing cars a year, so one more doesn't sound too much.
Reynard is the world's largest volume racing car manufacturer. They have an annual turnover of around £10 million. Based in Oxfordshire, they produce racing cars of all shapes and sizes, but not Formula One cars. To do so, it'll be the size of their profits that'll be important. To keep drivers like Senna and Prost in a manner to which they're accustomed, it takes more than petrol. Finance is the most important factor. Day one for chief designer Rory Byrne, formerly of Benetton. He has 12 months to get Reynard's act together in regard to the design team that'll produce, it's hoped, a competitive car.
It's our Formula 3 shop at the moment, which is where we'll be building the Formula 1 car in here.
Byrne starts from scratch, but the challenge he faces is enormous. Formula One technology is constantly accelerating. Have a few days off and you'll find you haven't just stalled, you're going backwards. That means the chances of success are written off. The headquarters for the Reynard team will remain in rural Oxfordshire, but will be in a newly built factory. Getting planning permission, though, proved to be as tough as getting a car on the track itself. For the locals, the idea of a racing car factory was the pits, although Adrian Reynard has promised his empire won't be an eyesore. The entrepreneur's impression is that his enterprise will put Middle Barton well and truly on the map. But meanwhile, back on the drawing board, quite literally, the work of designing a car that will compete on the Grand Prix circuit was making progress. At this stage, calculators and computers are much more important than engine or oil. And Rory Byrne has to take into account the constant rule changes on the design of Formula One cars. The first step is to produce a working model of the car, a model that can be built and rebuilt, tested and retested until it's right.
That's one of the important things about the system, is the way it's integrated into the manufacturing side.
After 6 months, this was the embryo that started to go through its paces not on the track, but in a wind tunnel. Whether there was light at the end of it, no one was admitting, because the 40% scale model resembled in no way the finished product. It was merely a workhorse for the boffins to continue testing. The big question Rory Byrne and Adrian Reynard had to consider was how much they'd achieved so far.
We've started with just the Reynard credibility, my dreams. Then it was reinforced with Rory, now his design team. We've got 17 people on that. So we've got two of the very important factors in team building. The next one really is getting on board a major engine manufacturer, which is not an easy thing. Then comes the sponsor, the tyres, the drivers. So, you know, if there's 6 parts to the package, we're sort of 2 parts there, and the plan is to get the engine people on board next.
Negotiations for an engine supplier are underway, and Reynards will hope they can make the same progress Jordan's have. As a new team in Formula One, Eddie Jordan's operation has an engine deal with Ford and a sponsorship deal with 7up, so it can be done. On their Formula One debut, a Jordan car was lying 7th with only 6 laps to go, before it was forced to retire. A performance that gave Adrian Reynard much hope and encouragement.
I was really pleased to see how well he'd done. I think his team and our team will be among the new generation of teams who are serious. Eddie is a fantastic entrepreneurial businessman, and he will get sponsors, and that is the most important thing, really, to get the money. So I feel that the next 10 years, Eddie will definitely be there. I'm sure we'll be there, and I'm sure a lot of the people that have been there or are just hanging on down the back, we will displace them, because some of them actually shouldn't be there. You know, I feel I have a right in there, and we'll earn our place at the front.
But Grand Prix racing is highly competitive. Despite the confidence, there's no doubt Reynard's dreams will hit obstacles along the way. Finding the winning formula can take a long time.